Scenario 1. Wolf Pack. 2 weeks ago, a specialist unit was sent in search of a lost chapel deep in the forest. They never returned. Now your unit has been dispatched to find the missing unit, or to learn their fate, and to see if you can locate the lost chapel yourselves. If the missing unit is located, it is imperative that their orders be recovered, so that they don't fall into enemy hands. Following the trail of the previous unit proved no trouble at all, as they left obvious tracks, and there has been little rain to wash them away. For 3 days you follow their trail into the ever-deepening gloom of the dark woods. Then, near dusk on the 3rd day, you come upon a scene of carnage. It appears you have found the missing unit. However, before you can confirm this, you hear a bone-tingling howl from nearby, and suddenly bright eyes are staring at you from the shadows all around. Welcome to this Wait Fire YouTube video, where today it's me, Andy, and I will be playing the Silver Bayonet, the new Gothic horror rule system from Jo McCullough, similar to Rangers of Shadow Deep and Frostgrave, that sort of thing. It's set in Napoleonic Wars, but I'm actually going to be transporting it to 1860s Mexico with a French intervention there, what was sometimes called the Maximilian Adventure. And the reason for that is I've got some really cool French Foreign Legion guys here that I wanted to use, and it's a good opportunity to do that. So I'll be doing that with the solo missions, and then when I come to play some competitive ones, I'll probably go back to Napoleonics, because I've not painted my Napoleonics yet. So this is Scenario 1, Wolf Pack. I better introduce my team. So what I have here is, if we start on the front rank, we have my officer, and my officer is called Capitaine Lionel Declaire. He has 2 attributes, inspiring and indefatigable. He also has a pistol, fencing sword, and some cold iron shot and some silver shot, because I boosted his accuracy to make him a bit better at shooting things. Next to him we have Sullivan, Roland Laroque. He has great faith, which means his weapons are blessed. He has a pistol and a fencing sword. And next to him we have Manuel Lopez, who is a native scout, a native Mexican here. He has a musket and a cartridge box, and he is a master of cover. On the back row we have Felix Dabron in his kepi. Then we have Albert Blanc in the hat. We have Claude Zola, man with who's partially balding. And then we have 2, they're all infantrymen. And then we have 2 grenadiers. We have Louis Michel with the hat, and Charles Barry with his kepi. Now, there's probably next to no chance I'll remember all those names correctly in this first game, but hopefully as we carry on through these 4 linked solo missions, we'll get used to these guys, if they all survive, that is. Anyway, we'll come back in a second when we have set up the table. Right, here we are, set the table for Scenario 1, the Wolf Pack. You can see I've split my team around the central starting position into 4 groups of 2. I have 6 objectives to get, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 there, either 6, 8 or 10 inches away from the centre of the table. Playing on a 2.5 by 2.5 foot table, so the last few inches around the table aren't being used. And you can see that there are some walls where I'm using these mantic, more beasts and more pups as my evil wolves in the Mexican wilderness. My French Foreign Legion are, what I'm planning to do is go to the furthest ones with a group each. So this group with my captain will go to this one. My other group, my second lieutenant and a grenadier, will go up to that one, and then these 2 small other groups will take the 2 closest ones on either side. So 2. The idea is I want to get as many as possible. I get more experience the more I get, the more gribblies I kill, and of course if I escape off the table as well. So I need to bear that in mind. There are the usual deck of cards that you'll recognise from these sorts of games, and whenever I turn an objective, I will flip a card to see what it is. Might be good stuff, might be bad stuff. And at the end of the first turn, before the monsters go, one of these beasts will turn into a werewolf as well, which is not so good. There is a chance of further werewolves during the game. I'm obviously going to have the book open, and I'll probably have the laptop open with my stats on as well, because Probably going to take a bit slower on this game. It's the first time I've ever played it. These are my dice I will be rolling for the power and the skill. I'm bound to forget which ones they are. So I've got 1 power and 1 skill in solo play. No monster dice in solo play. So these are what I can use for re-rolls and so on if you've seen the video of the review. And what I'm planning to do is I'll probably do the first set of rolls sort of live on camera. And all subsequent rolls I'll do what I usually do, which is just to give you the result of them. So anyway, we'll come back in a second with the my turn, and I'll get half my models will get to go before the monster phase, and then the other half will finish off after that. So we've moved this guy over here. He has then looked at this clue, which has ended up being the Jack of Spades, which is a Silver Saint medallion. So now all his attacks will count as silver for the rest of this scenario, and I've got to add a power, which is the blue one, to my dice. So I'll move that card there just to remind me. So I now have 2 power and 1 skill. And then over here I moved Manuel Lopez. He found this clue, and he has found the King of Spades, which is a bag of silver shot. So he also gets silver for his shooting for the rest of the game. Right. So those 2 guys have done both their actions, a move and then an investigate. This guy is going to shoot down onto this beast here, this dog, or wolf I should say, and then I will do the same with this guy up onto that one. So we'll come back in a second to look at those fights. So Felix Dabron is firing with his musket onto this dark wolf. So he rolls the power and the skill dice together, so both d10, so net effect is maximum of 20 of course. So we've got a 9 and a 5, so that adds up to 14. That is higher than the defense of 12 for the wolf. So now I look at which of these dice I use to do the damage, either the skill or the power. And for a musket it's going to be the power, which is the red one. Sorry, the blue one. So he's going to take 9 damage onto this dark wolf. Now they only have a health of 8, so that will actually kill this wolf. So that is a great shot. Well done, Felix. Felix is going to spend his second action to reload. So he's allowed to do that because normally in this sort of game you have to move, but in this case you are allowed, if you've just shot, to reload with the second action and not move. Also, there were no other modifiers, there was no cover or anything like that, so that's why I didn't roll anything different. Oh, I forgot to say, I would have added his +1 for accuracy as well, so that would have gone to a 15 actually, which would have beaten 12 defense anyway, of course. Great, so first blood to the French Foreign Legion. Now we're going to do the same up here. This is Albert Blanc. He is going to shoot at that one over there. So he's got a range of 24 with his musket. Again, he's going to do the same thing, shoot and then reload with his second action. So he gets +1 accuracy, again using the same 2 dice. No modifiers, so he's got an 8 and a 4. So that's 12. +1 for his accuracy gives him 13, but he had enough to beat the defense anyway because defense was 12. So that gets through. And again, the power is the one I use because it's a musket. So 8 is enough to take that one off. So we have killed 2 of the wolves, the dark wolves already. So they can go over there. Fantastic, that's actually a really good start. And he'll spend a second action to reload. Already we look a little better because there were 8 of these around and now there's only 6 left. It will be the turn of the monsters now, and then it will be back to the rest of the French. Just catching up with round 1, the monster phase, or they charge forwards. This one turned into a werewolf actually. It wasn't a wolf after all, it was a werewolf. Doesn't move quite as fast, but it's a much bigger threat. So none of them were able to get into contact with me. That one got stuck on the terrain a little bit, the others all moved forwards. And then I had the rest of my turns. This grenadier shot that one and has killed it outright. This one, we didn't manage to get a good shot with that infantryman. And then both my captain and my second lieutenant both tried to injure the werewolf because I have silver shot here, which would have been useful, but unfortunately rolled terribly, so didn't manage to do anything there. I could have used the re-rolls, but I rolled like a 3 and a 3 or a 1 and a 1, so it was pointless because you can only re-roll 1 dice, so it wasn't really worth it. But obviously the next turn, what I would hope probably to do is try and put some damage on the werewolf before it minces my men, because I reckon that is going to do some good, significant damage. It can ignore 5 points of damage if it's not from things I'm allergic to, so that would be silver. I have silver shot from this guy. I have silver shot from my leader, so I think I'll probably try and get those two to try and take out, or at least put some damage on the werewolf before it gets to activate. But that will be in the next round. At the end of every round as well in this scenario, you do a wolf pack event roll, but I got an 8, which means nothing happened, so that's pretty good for me this turn. Right, on to turn 2. Going to catch up with a little bit. So Felix, he fired all his attacks, whether they're melee or shooting, are silver, and so therefore he managed to put 5 wounds. He got just enough to beat the defense of the werewolf. Because he rolled a 5 for his power, that would have been ignored normally, but the silver shot gets through, so 5 damage, which is nearly half the damage the werewolf could take. I then tried to shoot with my captain, but failed to hit. I used a power dice actually to re-roll, but didn't manage to get it. And then I've moved into combat. Now in this game, if you move in, pistols don't need reloading, you see. So if you move in, you get an automatic fight. So I have attacked. So I've rolled the power and the skill dice. So that's 13. That's enough to hit this. And then it's a fencing sword I have. So I use the skill dice for the wounds. So we've taken 4 wounds. They have 8. Now in retaliation, the enemy, in this case the wolf, has a choice. It can either back away or it can fight me back. So obviously it's going to fight me back. So it will fight on its normal roll. So it gets a 9 and a 1, a 10. That's not enough to beat my defense of 14. So I automatically then break off 2 inches. If it had beaten my defense, it would have applied, it counts as a hand weapon. All monsters count as hand weapon unless told otherwise. So it would have applied the power. So I would have only taken 1 wound anyway. So nothing else, no negative effect of fighting back. It's like a free go, really. The only other thing to note, though, everyone in a combat is fatigued at the end of it. So both of those pick up a fatigue token. I'll use those little markers as for fatigue. And you can have a maximum of 2 unless you've got indefatigable, which he does actually, my captain, and so does the werewolf. When you can only have a maximum of 1. And that gives you a -1 to fight and defense. So now when I shoot or attack that beast again, it'll have an extra -1. They all go away at the end of the turn, but it's a way of sort of showing that he's less able to deal with what's coming at him. So I'm okay with that, I think. Okay, it's probably quite a good thing. Now I've done 2 of my guys. I've got another 2 guys to go before the monsters get to go. I might try and whittle out some of the dogs because I don't think I'm going to take that werewolf down. It's got like 14 wounds, so I might try and get rid of some of the dogs first. End of the first half of my turn. I shot with my second lieutenant at the dog, didn't manage to wound him. Then I moved into attack, didn't manage to wound him. And so the retaliation didn't do any damage either, so they both just picked up a fatigue. Over there I shot, didn't do anything, and then moved into combat and killed outright the dark wolf. But obviously I've picked up a fatigue as well. But I'm a bit more protected. So we'll see what happens in the monster phase. We've got a couple of dogs with fatigue that are definitely going to get in, and the werewolf is obviously going to get in as well. So a couple of things to finish off with. Nothing really happened there. They picked up extra fatigue each. That combat zeroed out. This combat here also zeroed out. This one actually has 2 fatigue on it now. I'll have to get more tokens. A wolf did charge against Manuel Lopez and did 10 wounds on him. 10 points of damage. He is very close to dropping, but he then fought back and managed to kill it outright, which was great. So he's looking good over that side, although he's very sore. The werewolf has quick heal, so when it activates, it took 2 of the wounds it recovered, so it's down to just 3 now, and then went and attacked Felix, but wasn't able to hit him. Felix retaliated and wasn't able to hit the werewolf either, so they both pick up a fatigue, which might be useful because I'll probably try and kill it now. So at the end of the round I did the rest of my stuff. I really only did shooting, so I put all of my firepower onto the werewolf. That's all 4 of these guys. I only hit it once, and I did manage to put 2, actually I hit it a couple of times, but only 1 did any damage because none of mine have got silver shots, so therefore it's -5 damage. So I got 7 on one of my power dice, which was enough to take it back up to the 5. All of the fatigue markers will disappear now at the end of the turn, and the event for the end of the turn is that 2 more wolves are going to appear from a random corner, which I will do shortly. So I'm not looking too bad, I'm just a bit worried about that werewolf, of course. I started this game with my second lieutenant using a technique called distraction, so that puts a fatigue onto the werewolf to try and make it easy to hit, and then I shot at the wolf in front of him and missed. I then activated Felix, and Felix shot at the werewolf, and this is what he rolled. A 9 and a 6, that's 15, which actually would obviously beat the defense of 14 anyway, so the fatigue doesn't matter. And then it's power, which is the blue die, so I put 9 wounds onto the werewolf, I should say. Because it's silver shot, that's all 9 go through, as opposed to just 4. And that means that he takes 14 wounds. He's only got 12 health, so I've taken out the werewolf. I am very, very happy about that. So he's so happy he'll reload his gun for the next action. I've got 2 more actions before it's the monsters go, but I feel a lot happier now the werewolf has gone. The new dogs came on from that side over there, so Manuel is probably going to retire. Capitan shot at the wolf, didn't kill it, but then moved in and decimated it. And then Manuel shot at one of these new wolves and killed it and then retired. But I put the exclamation mark down to show that his gun is unloaded. So it's the monster turn. That one obviously is not going to do anything from over there. This one is going to come in onto my second lieutenant, Roland the Rock. Roland the Rock. So the wolf has got +1. He gets a 10, 11. That's not enough to beat Roland's defense, which is, I think, about 12 or 13. Roland will fight back. Oh, he gets a 17. He'll do 7 damage because he's got a fencing sword, so uses the skill dice rather than the power dice. So not quite killed it. It'll be pushed back 2 inches. And then everyone takes a fatigue in that combat as well. But it's obviously on 7 wounds, so I'd hope I will finish that off soon. Completely ineffectual shooting closed out that round. I fired all these 4 guys at both the wolves, didn't do anything, and then 2 more wolves have come on from that side there. So I've got 2 wolves get quite close to me, and then I'll probably go for these bottom objectives because the other wolves are coming down from the top. So I think we'll clear these ones and then get up there. One of these objectives does house another werewolf, so I need to watch for that for sure. So Roland Rock went shot but missed and then killed the dark wolf there in hand to hand. My captain came down here and found the missing orders. So this is what I need to win the game. And then over here, I shot with Manuel, missed, reloaded, and then I shot with this guy. He did 7 points of damage on this wolf, so nearly dead, and then he's reloaded as well. You're allowed to dive for cover, so he made 2 inches long. He doesn't move into line of sight, so he's moved behind this thing here, and then it will be the monsters go, which is those 3 wolves left. In the monster phase, this one came in, attacked this guy, and an ineffectual fight happens, so they both pick up a fatigue, but no damage. And then these 2 just move forwards. So I've got the Felix, this guy, and this guy all left to go now. Yeah, I try and deal with those wolves that are on the table still. So I managed here to shoot the wounded one, so that has gone. Over here I shot this one, just did a couple of wounds on him, and he did his dive for cover into that way. And I tried to shoot from here onto that one, picking up some cover of course, and didn't do it. The reason I shot rather than going for this objective was I already have the missing orders, so I don't really want to spread myself out in case this is a werewolf, so I'm going to hang fire on doing that for the moment. At the end of the round, we get a 5, which is nothing new this round, so everything stays as it... Oh no, tell a lie, 5 is another single wolf appears from a random area, so I'll put that down in a second. It was a good round for the forces of Imperial France. So my captain shot... There was a new wolf that just come on here, he shot it with his pistol and then just ran away, because I get bonus points for taking off the missing orders, of course. Over here, this grenadier shot this one and did a good hit on him, killed him. I shot with Felix, and I used my skill dice actually to re-roll, because I rolled a 1 on the skill dice and like a 9 on the power dice. So I would have taken that wolf out, but I still only rolled a 2. It wasn't enough on the re-roll. I then shot with Roland, and no damage, and then Roland ran in and destroyed it with his fencing sword. So there are no wolves left, so there is no monster phase. There's no point in me gaining any more objectives. I've already maxed out the experience points by investigating 3 of them. And there's a risk of a werewolf. So what I want to do is I want to get my models off the table. So basically I'm just going to run to a table edge now. And yes, there might be some wolves coming on at the end of each turn, but it's sort of not really that interesting. So I'm just going to kind of keep heading probably just to one table edge, so I just get off. I think I've maxed out everything I can get experience point wise, except for drawing out another werewolf, but I think that's too big a risk for me to want to do. So you can see I'm dashing down here. You can sprint in this game where you roll 2 dice, you get 11 or more, you make an extra 4 inches on top of your normal 6 inches most people are moving. So managed to sprint here but not here, so you can see there's some slight differences in how they moved. These guys were the ones who all fought, so they've stayed up there. The event for the turn is just that the rain starts to fall, so line of sight is reduced and shoot actions are at -1. So it's not so good for me, but I'm basically just going to dash off now. So no monsters have come on, and I am just going to move my models off in the next turn as much as I can. I'll have to survive one more round or two from those guys who are further up the field, but I'm not too concerned. So we have successfully investigated and found the missing orders and survived the attack of the wolf pack, and a werewolf for that matter. So yeah, I think we did alright. We ended up with quite a lot of damage on Manuel, but nobody else really took any damage at all, which was great. MVP has got to be the Grenadier here and the Red Cat with Felix, although I think I've changed his name during the course of this game. I knew I was going to do that with in the first game. So anyway, that Grenadier. Everybody gets 1 experience point for surviving the mission, and then I got a total of 8 additional experience points for the kills and so on and so forth in the game. So I can allocate 1 additional experience point to each model, and I've got 8 in my force, so that's great. So they'll all get 2 experience. They need 5 experience to be going up anything, so they're not going to do anything exciting at this stage. It does say occasionally you might be able to get someone who gets a 3rd experience point for a game, but not in this one. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that game. I certainly enjoyed playing it. Once the werewolf was gone, I felt I was pretty easy to manage the rest. But solo gaming is always fun when you're not quite sure what's going to come up. And it could have gone either way on some of the dice rolls. So the mechanics are 2 dice. It's hard for me to remember the power and the skill dice, but I'll get used to that as I play more. I quite like it. I think it's fun. It's not as random as a D20. Still gives you basically the same sort of effect. I quite like as well that your damage isn't dictated by your dice, your overall dice result. So you could get a good hit by rolling a 10 on the skill dice and say a 3 on the power dice. But if it's a musket, that's only 3 points of damage. Where if it's a pistol or a fencing sword, that would be 10 points of damage. So I quite like that, I think. Yeah, it was fun. I was very pleased to put down the werewolf. Got lucky by getting those silver ammunition so that I could actually get rid of his defense 5, because that was something I wasn't looking forward to at all. But anyway, I enjoyed it a lot. I hope you enjoyed it. I will be playing some more with my little merry band of foreign legionnaires. And yeah, thanks very much everyone, and take care. Bye.